Maruming hangin naglalaya, ang dilim parang walang hanggan. Kapit kamay aking minamahal, taos puso kami nagdarasal. pamilya ko, sa sarili ko.
Para kay Mother Earth.
Para sa passion ko. Para ti pamilya, kaya di kita dumapay nga love ko ti life ko.
Para sa mga pasyente ko.
Para sa future. Ano ba?
Nice meditation. Please let us know in the comment section your realizations, your insights, and how was your experience. Because later today, we will choose from these commenters 3 winners who will win passes to the full cacao ceremony, an online ceremony. So what we did today is just a sneak peek, and there's more to it in the online cacao ceremony. It takes 3 to 5 hours, so comment down below, because after the next speaker, we are going to choose who is the winner.
Yeah, so comment below with the hashtag RisesOne, Heart Rhythms, and those winners, people who will comment, we will select among them and we will give them free passes to the online cacao ceremony.
So our next speaker is a plant mystic, a medicine woman, and author from the north who works as a soul guide and a headliner. A well-known voice who talks about plant medicine, shamanism, and mystical path of the soul.
She works with ancient myths and fairy tales to bring back the lost memory of the soul.
Wow.
Her initiation as a plant medicine healer comes from Shipibo tradition in Amazon. Friends, let's welcome Inin Nini.
Hi. What a beautiful day today. My name is Inin. I'm a medicine woman, plant mystic soul guide from Norse. I'm very happy to have this possibility to spend those moments together with you. I'm very happy about this possibility to share a little piece of Northern wisdom with you. I hope this resonates. I hope you will find a piece of truth that you're searching for. I'm also very pleased that we live in times when all the knowledge from all the corners of the world is coming together. And you have this possibility to hear the stories and wisdom from east, south, north, and west. And then in your heart, in the very center, you can find the way how to mix and merge those messages together so they help you to navigate your life and help you to write your own beautiful, beautiful story of your life. Today I'm here to share my own vision about the plants and the way they can and maybe also can't help you to come closer to your truth. I'm talking about the consciousness opening plants, the plants of the gods. Of course, there's a huge hype around the plants of the gods. You can hear here and there about their experiences with ayahuasca and with sacred mushrooms. And from one side, I'm very happy. I'm very happy that finally, after all this struggle and dark ages and all those misunderstandings about the plants, finally, the plant wisdom is coming back and taking its legitimate place in human society. Of course, there's struggle, and of course, there's so many restrictions, but they're coming back, and I'm happy about that. From other side, working with plants for such a long period of time, I see the gaps and I see the traps that we can fall into if we are not doing this work carefully with tenderness, with humility. So one thing that we need to understand when we talk about plant wisdom and usage of sacred plants in ceremonies is that in ancient times, the plants of the gods were only used among small groups of the people that lived in a specific place and had specific traditions and cosmology, which means that they created stories and understanding of the world that were characteristic to them, to that specific place in the world. And afterwards, after those big ceremonies, healing ceremonies, spiritual guidance ceremonies, they could talk and explain to each other what happened, what did they see, what messages did they receive, through their own mythology and through stories that they told each other. And imagine ceremonies today, if we are talking about the modern plant ceremonies, with shamans traveling from different sides of the world and attending specific points in the world and gathering together people from all kinds of cultures, religious backgrounds, it's such a mixture that sometimes it's even weird. So afterwards, during the ceremony, when people come together, of course, what plants do, they connect us with the oneness. There are no words. There's just understanding and wisdom. But when we go out of the ceremonies, when we return to our everyday life, it's crucial that we have instruments how to implement the knowledge and wisdom that we received in the ceremonies. How do we practice that wisdom in our everyday life? And so the shaman is gone back to Amazon or whatever beautiful place they come from. We are left alone, usually in a culture where there's no tradition of telling the stories about the cosmology and about the symbols and the way people see the world. And the only solution nowadays that I see is that we prepare ourselves, that we will be the ones who will find the way how to start writing our stories, myth, and cosmology by ourselves. I'm talking about stories and wisdom of ancient people in storytelling, because those things, the storytelling and the wisdom of the plants, they both have one common thing, the same as dreams. And that is the language. Plants speak the language of symbols. fairy tales, mythology. It is all about the symbols. Every night we attend, each one of us, we attend small ceremony when we go to sleep, meaning that we see dreams. And language of the dreams are symbols as well. So if we are not trained to understand this language, and with understanding, I mean not really the understanding of the mind. It feels more like you see the importance of the symbol, you resonate with the symbol, and you receive guidance and knowledge through that symbol. It is like a door that you open. And the tragedy with all the people from different sides of the world is the tragedy of us as humans losing our ability to understand the symbols and to tell the stories. So people who come together and they attend the ceremonies and work with plants, it's already an overwhelming situation because the plants are showing us the whole truth. They are not judging. They're not dividing into good and evil. Everything and everyone and each element and each piece of the puzzle, it's a part of the whole picture. So imagine someone going to the ceremony where the plants open the whole knowledge. And then you have to somehow find a way how to translate it into your life. And if you don't have tools, if you don't have this connection with your inner understanding of symbols, if you don't see your own life as a story and yourself as a protagonist or the hero in your own story, then it can become a huge mess. So what I do when I work with plants and with consciousness, that beautiful, amazing consciousness that Mother Earth is opening when she's offering us the plants of the gods. What I do, I usually work for a longer period of time with people, helping them to reconnect with their dreams, helping them to listen to the stories from their ancestral land, helping them to start realizing how creative they are and what an amazing space of symbols and characters and names for the energies they have inside of them. So one beautiful and kind of silly, but it works. One tool is my invitation as the most common source for nowadays to listen to the stories is watching movies. So my suggestion is simple as that. If you're watching the movie or TV series, please look at the movie. Look at the characters in the movie and try to see that all of them, all those characters, they are part of your own psyche, of your own soul. That these are the energies that are in work inside of you. It's a little bit challenging because you see the bastard monster and you see the evil killer, and then you see the cold queen, and then you see an idiot. And of course, then you see someone who is really has a courage and is beautiful. And you have to imagine that all of them are playing this big theater, living the tale, the myths, and it's all happening inside of you. Somehow, this is the instrument that works. And when people start to look at the movies, or even, which is rare, reading the books, and they start really to analyze those characters as symbols, as a living part of them, then things slowly start to change. When people work with their own dreams, with very simple methodologies, really writing down the nouns and verbs from the dreams and really trying to put their own associations with each of the symbol. And then suddenly those symbols start to mean something. But the main thing is that we are kind of showing to our inner world and also to the spirit world that we are ready to connect, that making small steps, we are trying to show that we agree to start reading that beautiful book of knowledge and wisdom that each one of us we have inside. You have to have patience. You have to have willingness to also follow your everyday life and see the synchronicities, how something from the dream material, how it interconnects with events and symbols that you meet during the day. And then at some point, something miraculous happens. You are starting to find an interesting thing, that you indeed are the one who is writing your own life story together with the divine, of course. You have significant relationship with the divine because you are the divine. So I am one of those guides who see that when we get in touch with overwhelming divine information, it's not about complicating things. It's about being very patient, very loving to yourself, and really simplifying things with being even childish, super simple, following your dreams, watching movies as you would have possibility to see your own inner world, following the small signs that you see in your everyday life. And then suddenly, after a short or long period of time, when you're ready, you go and meet the plants and the spirits of the plants, being already in you have another capacity to understand the messages and the language. So I encourage you to practice the saying that God is in details, and to become your own writer of your own story. And for that, I also encourage you to listen to the ancient stories of the world. Listen to those stories that our grandmothers and grandfathers told us. Start listening to those boring ancient Greek mythology, weird stories about the gods. Become familiar with the bones and structures of the ancient storytelling, because this is the way how you learn the language in which the spirits, the big soul of Mother Earth, the universal soul, is talking to each one of us. I would love to share a story that you might most probably know, or at least you have heard about it many times. If not, you're welcome to listen to it for the first time. So long time ago, super long time ago, might be even yesterday, in some ancient and far away island, there was this king. And king had a dark secret. There were several brothers who were fighting for the throne of this island. And each one of them were praying to different God. Please send me the sign that I will be the king. Please do it for me. And this one king prayed to a very strong God from the sea. And he said, please send me the sign that I will be the king. So God was looking at him and he thought, well, from all of them, yeah, all right, I will give him a chance. And as the sign of his victory, he sent unbelievably beautiful white, snow white bull. Out of the sea it came. It was shining and beautiful. And of course the young king was super happy. He said, yes, I'm blessed. This is the sign. But there are rules when you work with gods and when you pray to gods. And the rule was that the young king has to sacrifice the bull in the name of the god of the sea. the bull was so beautiful, and the king wanted to keep it, and so he did. He went back into his palace, and he asked his servant to build a space deep down beneath the castle, and to make it very complicated, to build a labyrinth so the big animal cannot escape. And so it was done, but the gods became crazy. And the god of the sea said, well, okay, you human being, you will have to pay the price. And what he did, he turned to the goddess of love and he said, could you please help me in this case? This guy is misbehaving and we need to do something about it. He became a king, but he did not bring back the offering that he was supposed to bring back. The goddess of love said, sure, not a problem. And what she did, she turned to the wife of the new king and she whispered in her ear and she said, you know, there's something amazingly strong and beautiful deep down beneath the palace. And the young queen, she was tired of all this patriarchal game playing and all the coldness that was in the castle. So she went down and down and down. And underneath, she saw the most beautiful, amazing creature, the white bull. And she felt in love. And so she asked the servants to build the carcass of the cow. And each night she went down underground and made love with the bull. And after a period of time, the child was born. And that was the ugliest and strongest monster you can imagine. And the name was Minotaurs. And the ugliest thing was that that creature ate only human beings. And as they had some political issues with the island Crete and Athens, and so they were discussing things. So at the end of the day, it came to solution that after each 8-9 years, the Athens were supposed to send a ship with young virgins and young men and young women for the monster to have his food. And so they did. And all the nation was in sorrow and everyone was desperate. But otherwise, you couldn't work it out. So these were conditions they were all in. And one day, the son of the king from the Athens, he said, you know, I'm such a big hero. I will go and rescue us all. And his father, of course, was against, and he said, oh, my baby boy, I don't want you to do this, and you're too stupid, and all the things that father says to their children, you know. But anyway, he went. And when he arrived to that island, on the balcony, there was standing the daughter of the king, Ariadne. And she saw that courage and strength and beauty of this young man, the prince, the son of the king. And her intuition told her, well, I'm in trouble. But she felt in love. And she was the only one who knew the solution, how to kill the bull inside of the labyrinth. So she approached the young prince and she said, I can help you. Will you marry me? Well, that's what women sometimes they do, all right? So the young hero, he was so impressed by himself, and so he thought, well, to attain this goal, I can marry this princess, not a problem. And so Ariadne gave him red thread. So when he went down into the labyrinth, and where he was supposed to kill the monster, which was Ariadne's half-brother, he would knot the red thread near the entrance of the labyrinth, so he wouldn't get lost in the labyrinth. And then Ariadne gave her sword as well. And he did succeed. He killed the monster. The whole people were liberated. There was huge celebration. And became the day when they were supposed to go back to Athens. Ariadne she felt really happy. She followed her love of her life, her passion. So they all sailed back to their city, but during the trip, the young hero was looking at Ariadne and he thought, I'm so famous, I can have any princess in the world. Why on earth should I marry this one? And so he said, Ariadne, see, there's this small island. Maybe we can, stop for a minute and spend our time together and so on. And Ariadne was so full of love. She was so in love. And she said, yes, I would love to spend those moments with you, because soon we will be in your father's land and we will have to serve people. So let's have this minute of being just two of us. So they stopped and they laid down in the beach, and it's beautiful and the birds are singing. And suddenly Ariadne, she feels so comfortable and so good that she fell asleep. And when she opened her eyes, she saw that her prince is gone. Off he sailed into the sea, leaving her behind, alone on the island. And she cried, and she cried, and she cried. She fell asleep, she woke up, and she cried. And after 3 days, when she was so desperate that she wanted to die, she opened her eyes, and here it was, the most beautiful, beautiful creature, man, you can imagine. So erotic, so passionate, so alive. And the man was looking into her eyes and he said, wow, what a woman you are. You followed your own red thread of life. You followed your passion. You're such a beautiful, beautiful woman. Would you please marry me? And that was the god of ecstasy, Dionysus. And so she did. And she became a goddess herself. So why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you because I want to encourage you to feel the strength of the symbols, the strength of the fairy tale, the beauty of the mystical field that opens when you tell the story. I would love to encourage you to see that listening to the ancient stories and creating your own mythology, connecting with your own dreams, connecting with your own symbols, it can help you to create this red thread of your own truth that you can follow. So you do not get lost in the amount of information that you receive from the world, and also when you go and work with plants of the gods, when you are opening your consciousness in other ways through meditation or any kind of other ways. So you always have your own story that you are following, that you are the hero and creator of your own story, and that you are following the only important thread that is there, meaning the thread of love and bliss and passion. So why did the god of ecstasy fell in love with such simple girl as Ariadne? The divine is always impressed by someone who is following the thread of their own passion and bliss. And you will always be granted if with honesty you're following and discovering your own imagination, your own dream world, your own hero's journey or heroine's journey. It will always be granted. You will always receive the gifts from the divine. And one more thing, when you work with plants, you all are always overwhelmed by the information, and you see things that you might discover in this dual world as good or bad or evil or monstrous or bad spirits, good spirits, all the things that you are trying to divide. But they're all working together in this universe. But you have to have your inner truth, your inner values, and your own story, which is story of passion and love. So every time you look into the mirror and you can answer the question, how much did you love? How much passion for the life you had? And I have worked with many dying people. And that is also the question that's been asked in the final moment when you're facing the big cosmic mirror. How much passion for life and for love did you have? Are you following and discovering your own story? Are you co-creator in this universe? This is the main and most important question. So today, I encourage you to go back to your lives And if you have possibility, talk to your grandparents. Talk to the land. Read the books from your culture and from cultures all around the world. Don't be too shy to read fairy tales and discover the tool. How did ancient people, how did they find the ways to translate the language from the spirits, from Mother Earth? How did they unlock the divine symbols? How did they do that? And you can do it only by listening, only by carefully indulging those stories, dreams, stories, fairy tales into your own being. And in a way, yes, we live in a culture where it's very hard to create the same cosmology like our ancestors did, that they had the same common cosmology. But our task is to create our own stories and our own cosmology. And then to live and translate and follow the red thread of our passion and of our bliss. I invite you to work with plants of the gods. I'm also telling you and reminding you that Carl Gustav Jung used to say that you shouldn't work with plants of the gods because you are not working with the material that you already have inside of you and in your subconsciousness and in your dreams. So what will you do when the huge stories of the world will open to you? What will you do? You are not capable to work with the material that you already have. So why go for more? I encourage you to do both, because the main theme from the plants is they're always and always loving. There's pure love and high vibration in plants. But I also encourage you to have your own story, have your own values. Know where you come from. Know your own traditions. Know your own stories from your own land. And then with a straight bone, knowing who you are, knowing your values, having respect for your land and respect also for all the traditions that are opening around the world to share the wisdom of the plants. And then you're ready and you are capable to not be overwhelmed by the divine information we received during ceremonies. I hope this helps just a little bit. I will be happy to meet you someday, somehow. If you're interested and willing, I'm always open to receive interesting stories, fairy tales from all around the world. So you are welcome to contact me anytime, anyhow. Blessings, and may the story that we are creating now is the most beautiful story of passion and love that we can ever imagine. Thank you and gratitude. Yes, you're already live.
So, welcome back. Thank you, Nini, for that very wonderful talk. There's so much wisdom in your talk. It's unbelievable. And yeah, once again, let's welcome her back, our speaker, Nini.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, hello. So nice to be in connection with you all.
To you too. Your talk is very wonderful, especially about the symbolism, about watching movies, the media. You can. I agree that reflect those movies have been reflecting that in my journey with plant medicine. So how about you, Miguel?
So I lost a little
That was
bit of
great.
your questions. So maybe you can repeat once again because I lost your audio.
Audio ka na lang. So,
So
Mr.
yes, whenever you start to speak, the audio is off. So
Okay,
wow,
yours
and
better.
now yes. Well, that's nothing unusual with me. And when I'm doing the lectures and things, some unusual stuff usually happens. So you said something, both of you, and I didn't hear it. So maybe you can repeat it.
Say, yeah, we were saying that, we were able to resonate with what you said about the movies and with the media, with what we watch. It reflects our journey in plant medicine. So, how about you? Does it resonate with
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Mm.
Especially the different mythologies, the what we can obtain from this, what we can use in our life.
Mm.
It's amazing. Thank you.
So the main thing is this experience about creating your own vocabulary of symbols comes from a long journey working with people who are then trying to implement the knowledge they gain in ceremonies. So, using different ways and different tools, I have reached that point when it's absolutely the necessity for all of us to create our own mythology so we can start living and speaking the language that spirits talk. And if we don't have the knowledge of the language, then we are not really capable of truly living those messages.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes, I agree.
Mm.
So this is the question and answer portion. So I think we have some questions for you, Inin.
So,
All right.
for all the viewers, please post your questions so that Inin can answer them. So let's go ahead.
So my experience with questions and answers is that after you listen to a story or something that you don't know what's happening when you listen to ancient story, or you listen to an ancient song, but it leaves you wordless. And I have experienced the moments after my ceremonies, not really with plant ceremonies, but really telling the stories, that afterwards people are in that state behind the words. So no questions, no reflection yet. They are just swimming in this ocean of that's behind the words. So absolutely, I'm not scared of people not asking questions, because this is my normality. Some days will pass and people will have uh, something will open inside of them, some deeper knowledge, because my task is just to be to remind that everything is inside of you, all the knowledge. This is why we resonate with some teachers and with something more, because we know this is inner knowing. We know it, and we are all ready to open and read that page at that moment. This is why we resonate with some specific guide or reader, because this is the page that we are ready to read. But all the knowledge is inside. It's just a question of someone saying, hey, I can see that I have a little key. Have it. Try to open your big book of knowledge that lies inside of you.
Yes, I completely agree with that, because I believe that we are not really learning, but we are maybe relearning or being reminded of what we already know deep inside of us. That's why we are like, even if though we just feel that the truth when it is spoken, when it is told by the teachers, by the gurus, or there's some people who had access to this deep knowledge that is stored in our spirit, our eternal spirit.
So my favorite quote or line is when people attend my classes or any other class, they expect that someone will help them to organize their lives, bring the healing, and say how to do things right. And I always say, I'm not here to teach you. I'm here to love you, and love's gonna teach you. So this is might sound a little bit pathetic or hippie kind of saying, but it's very true. I can teach nothing. I can just share that inspiration and admiration for life and for the divine, and that is gonna teach others to stay in that love and to stay in that feeling.
We agree. We agree. So just to read some comments uh, from our viewers. So from Michelle Roboda, she says, "Beautiful message. Plant consciousness is for us to remember the truth with the heart." As to
Yeah.
how. Yes.
Yeah, can you tell us more about how people who are interested and how they can attend your classes, the ones that you are offering, where how they can.
Um, Now I'm very deep into, I have spent those weird years we all had. Uh, the last 2 years, I have spent really writing a lot of material and writing the messages that I received and writing books. So I haven't been very active in just helping and serving the local community and protecting the Nordic Gate, doing what I can to serve in where I am. But I have received a couple of or many invitations just to speak in events like this, to be a part of global community. So if anyone is interested to learn more about the plant medicine, right now it's about them organizing something and then saying, "Hey, Inin, we need you there." And then I'm gonna pop up and, okay, I'm gonna do it, because now it's very important that we really stand the ground where we are. We have our circle and we have our people where we live, and it's very important that we really serve in different points of the world where we are. We serve those that are closest to us. And yeah, of course, I'm that kind of person who really enjoys to experience different corners of the world and to walk Mother Earth and to see how different she is and how wild she can be. Meaning, I love to journey, but the message was very strong from spirits. Now it's time for us to be where we are and to serve the people. Okay, I lost you again a little bit. Yes. So people are, if they have any realizations or they would love to know more, they can contact me on Facebook or through email. And we never know what kind of connections it can bring us. And I will be happy to hear if someone is in need or needs some kind of inspiration or advice. So your audio is off again? Yes?
Yes, we really appreciate your work and for you being here with us. Um,
Yes, you're so welcome. So welcome, and gratitude and greetings. And I haven't been able to participate in all the events that happened here and still will happen. But I can tell one thing, that even not listening to all of the lectures and everything, it was such a strong energetical presence that I felt. I had very strong dreams in here in Latvia, where I am. It's morning. It's Sunday morning, and I dreamt a lot, and I felt the energies that your guys, all of the teachers that are working with. So I can tell that this was very powerful and still is very powerful event, and thank you for that.
yes, thank you. Oh, there's one question from our viewer. That she said that That is a wonderful reminder to stay with love is how we learn.
Mhm.
May I know more
And
about the 13 dreamers? She said.
mhm. Well, staying connected, it's yeah. I have a beautiful story from my teacher. It's um, it's a good way how to remind ourselves where we are. Are we really in connection, and are we in love? So she said that one day she was walking in a metro in New York City, and there is this beggar man with a lot of bags, the bag man going around like homeless person, crazy and but peaceful. And so he's walking around, and she and her couple of her colleagues, they are standing in a circle, and he's walking around and he's looking at those guys and he's saying, "You're in and you're out. You're in and you're out." And everybody who is standing in that little crowd, they are like, for sure they want to be in, you know. And that is something that tells us that usually when someone, when we are waiting for this approval from the outside, oh, you're connected with the spirit, you have this connection, you're in, you're with us. But only we are responsible for this connection, and no one from outside can tell, are we connected and are we standing in love or we are not. So I always when I'm losing this center and going into my mind and getting stressful about the situation around, I'm always remembering this story, and I'm like telling myself, in, are you in or are you out? And also always remember that there are two chairs, and one chair is love and another one is illusion, idea that there is no love. And you cannot sit on both. You have to choose. It's very uncomfortable to sit on the two chairs, You have to choose. Will you sit in an illusion, in absence of love, or will you sit, but then you sit, and you're there. You're not trying to uh, put your butt to a side. Yeah, you're sitting there. And that's our responsibility. No one else can do it. And that's called courage. That's called strength, that you stay in this, that you're in and you're connected, and no one can measure how connected you are. No one can tell you, oh, you're the great spiritual whatever. You know your connection, and you can feel it. You can definitely feel it. I have seen it in a countryside with super simple people working on a field. They are so in, they're so connected, they're so in love with Mother Earth. And then I have seen gurus, the spiritual ego is like pop music, you can hear it. I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest. And it's teeny weeny, the connection is weak. So let's be in. Let's stay in connection and simplicity. Talking about 13 dreamers, that's the very beautiful message that came several years ago during the ceremonies and during diet, that it's time to um, to come together to invite the ancient knowledge. And the ancient knowledge is the knowledge about the moon and about the beauty of Mother Earth and her connection with the moon guidance. And so we know that every year moon circles 13 times. So uh, plants are super connected with the moon. They are in love with Father Sun. but they are definitely in love with Mother Moon. So this is where it comes from, and this is why we have a House of the 13 Dreamers and the books and everything. So I try to tell people stories. I try to play with people to really show the depths and simplicity of spirituality. The depths, and it's a journey. It's a beautiful fairy tale that we are living in. And we have fairy tales. In every fairy tale, there are monsters and there are idiots and cheaters and everything. But if we are experiencing drama, then we know that we have not reached the end of the story yet. We are in the middle, in a crisis point, and we have to move forward to reach the beautiful ending. And ending means the new story will come in, and it will start all over and over again. So I'm pleased to be here with you. I hope you will have that all the people that were here attending will really feel the blessings of this conference in their hearts and in their lives, like literally. I really pray for that, and I wish for that.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Inin.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
May said she will bring you here, and then we are so excited about that. Thank you again for sharing your wisdom, your everything that you have shared to us.
Yeah, the same goes to you. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you someday soon again.
We hope so too. May's right beside us, so she she sends her regards.
Thank you. Thank you. Love and light. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.